All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's been a tremendous amount of seismic activity this year. And at one point this summer, we witnessed a total of 494 earthquakes of at least a magnitude 5.0 within just a span of time of 30 days. Again, within a 30-day period, we witnessed over nearly 500 earthquakes that were registered of magnitude 5.0 or greater. That's about 4 times as many magnitude 5.0 earthquakes as we normally see during a 30-day window. And I believe the shaking is not over yet. We're going to talk about this today. We're going to talk about increased seismic activity that's happening around the world. And several of these are located at volcanoes. Some of these are very dangerous supervolcanoes. One of these is even here in America. And why are we talking about this? Because we're heading into the month of what many are calling the danger zone, and we're talking about that period of time right here in the month of September that we're already in, and that period of the UN General Assembly where Israel will be the center talking point of trying to divide the land for a Palestinian state. So this is what we're going to talk about today. So buckle up. We got a good one. Let's go.
The following program is brought to you by friends and partners of End Time Headlines.
All right, what's going on, guys? It is Thursday, September 4th. This is End Time Headlines, news and headlines from a prophetic perspective. We want to welcome you to tonight's program. We're getting close to the end of this podcast week. We've got tonight, we got tomorrow night, and we probably got Saturday night. And then we'll close out another week of podcasts. And it's incredible how fast the weeks truly go by. We want to welcome you. If you're new, first time joining us, you found us on YouTube, maybe in the YouTube recommended us, someone invited you in, whatever the case may be, we want to officially welcome you. When I say we, talk about myself and our admins that you'll see in the chat. If you're in a live chat or if you're watching by the rebroadcast of this, where you can post a comment, let us know that you're new and where you guys are tuning in from, and we want to officially welcome you as well. If you can do me a favor, get more eyes on our program, you can do that by easily just taking just a second, hit that like button. If you enjoy our content and you wish to see more, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification as well. And that way you can keep up with our ministry and everything that we put out here on YouTube. So we also want to give a shout out to our podcast listeners, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from. We welcome you as well, and we appreciate you guys. You guys can help us out. If you'll just give us a good review, that's as good as hitting that like button, because that's going to get more eyes on us out there on Apple and Spotify or wherever that the podcast is coming from. So we know, guys, according to Matthew chapter 24, Jesus said there will be earthquakes in diverse places or various places as the signs of the times, as the end of the age begins to come to a climax and we get closer to the return of the Lord. Jesus tells us that there will be various earthquakes in diverse locations, and then one of the gospel writers says there'll be great earthquakes. These are what we would call mega quakes. So number one, earthquakes are a direct derivative of the birth pangs. We call these the birth pangs of the Messiah. They're a direct correlation with that. Number two, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and things like this that deal with the earth are also a result of iniquities, transgressions, and the shedding of innocent blood. Now, guys, I can't take 15 minutes to dig into that. We've done entire podcasts on that where we broke that down in detail. The life of the flesh is in the blood, and when there is innocent blood spilled in the land, whether it be through murder, whether it be through violence, whether it be through the shedding of innocent blood through abortion, whatever the case may be, the blood cries out. Now, one of the greatest depictions of this is in the book of Revelation, where it says there, John said there were souls under the altar that were crying out, and they were pleading with the Lord. They were asking the Lord, how long, O Lord, until you avenge our blood? So God is and will continue to avenge the blood of the innocents. And one of the ways that this happens is through these disasters like this, these earthquakes and these volcanoes. I know, now some of y'all, that might be a shock to you because you don't ever hear anything like that from the pulpits of your church. But this is biblical. Go read it in the Old Testament. We can even take you, again, we just showed you a verse from the New Testament to prove this. Okay, so now why am I telling you that? Because we have seen an alarming number of earthquakes. In fact, it's been more than normal. Let me pull this. I want to give Michael Snyder some credit here because he put this together. Very alarming earthquake strike as we enter the month of September. So this is going to be our whole talking point tonight. In this article, he points out that, as we said at the introduction of this, that at one point during a 30-day period, we had over 494 earthquakes in a span of 30 days. In fact, check this article out. Too many strong quakes in the last 30 days. What does it mean? Here's what the data says. And look at this, guys. You guys that are watching the visual of this, this is an actual visual. I think it was provided by the USGS or one of these apps somewhere out there that provide all this stuff. Look at the amount of earthquakes. Again, this is a magnitude 5.0 or larger that's spanning across the globe. And look at some of these: 7.3, 8.8, 6.7. These are huge earthquakes. Okay, and this over a 30-day period. Social media is shaking over, quote, too many earthquakes this month. Now, guys, this was the month of August. This is when this was put together. But is it really unusual? Twitter is buzzing, Reddit's rumbling, the TikTok tilting. People are freaking out over the reported 396. Again, that's been updated, and it was much larger than that, of magnitude 5.0 or greater recorded worldwide in the past 30 days. Again, this was in the month of August. Is the earth breaking up with us? One user joked, but before we all start prepping bunkers and learning Morse code, let's look at what data actually says. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the planet experiences an average of 1,300 to 1,500 magnitude 5.0 earthquakes per year. That breaks down about 110 to 125 per month. So yes, 396 in 30 days is notably higher than normal. Finally, we get some stats and seismologists and scientists who actually finally admit that this is not normal. Because I get so tired of the skeptics and the scoffers and the mockers who say, well, this is normal, this is average, this is nothing new, this is nothing to be concerned about. Finally, they're saying that this is, quote, notably higher than normal. But here's the twist. Here we go. This isn't the, quote, first time it's happened. Well, that doesn't really deter my faith at all, and it doesn't change my understanding of things, because things can be cyclical. Things can be in patterns, and there could be times that there's a reason for that. God has a purpose for that. Remember, I told you that a while ago. Seismologists point out that global earthquake activity is, quote, clustered, not evenly spaced out. You can have a relatively quiet month followed by an explosive one, and it's still within, quote, normal geophysical variation. For example, in April 2015, following the Nepal quake, aftershocks and regional activity pushed the global count over 400 for that month. Same thing happened in December of 2004, following the Sumatra quake and tsunami. Again, guys, don't let this try to tell you that discredit the Bible, because if anything, this validates and this proves what we're saying. Because when I read this, you know what I get from this? Birth pangs. Think about it. Come on, ladies. You have trimesters and you have levels of intensity. You'll have times, well, boom, it'll hit, and then another one. So the closer you got to delivery, the larger number of birth pangs there were and the more intense they got. So when I read the scriptures and when I read about future events and talking about these earthquakes that will be so powerful that they'll move mountains out of place, islands will disappear, that tells me that just like birth pangs, just like trimesters, you're going to see a greater number of them, but they're going to be greater in intensity. So that article did not take away anything that we already didn't know, as far as biblically speaking, okay? So don't let all the skeptics and the mockers, try to tell you, well, this is normal, and all you apocalyptic people, you Bible thumpers, you always talk about this is the end times and this and that. Oh, good grief. How many more signs do you need? We provide them, you mock, you laugh, you scoff, just like the days of Noah. So it's nothing new, guys. This has been going on for thousands of years, and sadly, it's going to happen all the way up to the coming of the Lord. All right, this is the latest one. An earthquake struck in Afghanistan, and over 800 individuals have died and 2,800 injured.
The death toll soaring, 1,400 now in this devastating Afghan earthquake. And tonight, officials warning of an exponential rise in casualties as communities cut off by the destruction finally get help. The UN says the number impacted could reach hundreds of thousands. Here, a child, bewildered, lifted from a Taliban government helicopter, the only way to find many families in isolated villages near the epicenter of Sunday night's 6.0 earthquake. But the clock is ticking. Pictures emerging of one destroyed home after another, of children's bodies covered in simple cloth, and of the agony of families. The official government number tonight, 3,000 injured and at least 5,000 homes destroyed. But this one man says about 300 to 350 people are still under the rubble.
One of Afghanistan's worst earthquakes, that's what they're calling this, on September 1st. So we kicked off the month of September with a massive quake in Afghanistan. Okay, meanwhile in Italy, in a new seismic swarm. All right, now this is a big one here, and we'll tell you why in just a second. Italy's National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology reports an ongoing earthquake swarm, and we're just going to call this the Campi Caldera, that started on August 31st at the time of its latest activity. Preliminary counted 94 earthquakes with a magnitude of 4.0 or more. The strongest event was a magnitude 4.0 earthquake on September 1st. Again, September 1st, guys. Interesting. I mean, right at the beginning of the month of September. Again, this is a ongoing swarm that's produced almost 100 earthquakes in this location. Now, in case you didn't know, there's a big deal about this. This is Europe's most dangerous supervolcano that could be creeping toward eruption. Now, this is this is about a 2-year-old article, but even 2 years ago, they've been warning that this is a supervolcano that could be creeping towards an eruption. All right, according to scientists, there's roughly around 20 supervolcanoes on the Earth, but there hasn't been a major eruption of any of these in any of our lifetimes. Unfortunately, seismic activity is on the rise across the globe, and we are being warned that this particular volcano, this is a supervolcano in Italy, is awakening. Scientists believe a European supervolcano is awakening amid fears it could devastate food supplies worldwide. Now think about the book of Revelation when those 4 horsemen of the apocalypse show up, and this is a future event, and it talks about famine gripping the earth. Following a number of powerful quakes at Camp Flegrei in Italy, scientists are alarmed that a major eruption could be pending. If a major eruption at this supervolcano was coming, we would expect to see a lot of earthquake activity leading up to its eruption, because earthquake activity is a sign that pressure inside the volcano is building. And experts say eruptions are usually preceded with increase in earthquake activity as underground pressure begins to build up. These small quakes can weaken the rock above the volcano's magma chamber, making it easier for magma to push through. Think of it like steam building in a pressure cooker, and if the lid gets too weak, it's going to blow. So there has been, since around 2023, there has been a lot of earthquake activity at this supervolcano in Italy. In fact, it was reported that there has been 6,000 earthquakes within the past 6 months alone. And the crater has been spewing up to 5,000 tons of gas a day. Now, not just the gas, but magma inside this supervolcano has also reportedly been rising, and it's now only a few miles from the surface. Now look at this. Scientists warn one of the world's supervolcanoes is awakening. Quote, it will plunge the planet into chaos. All right, according to this report, the last eruption of this volcano was in 1538. While it doesn't erupt often, major eruptions happen every few thousand years. The volcano has, quote, shown signs of unrest in recent decades. They're saying it's not possible to predict exactly when the next eruption will happen, but the recent activity means it could come sooner than later. And then when you come down here, look what it says here. If a similar eruption happened today, its impact would reach far beyond Italy. Ash clouds could blanket much of Europe, grounding flights, damaging crops, and cutting power. Volcanic gases could block sunlight, causing years of cooler temperatures and unpredictable weather that would threaten food supplies worldwide. Now, guys, I want to highlight right here. Ash clouds could blanket much of Europe, grounding flights, damaging crops, and cutting power. Why is it significant? Because I know a lot of people always say, well, we focus on the United States a lot. Well, let's talk about Europe, okay? Let's talk about the fact that France, with Macron, is one of the leading voices, one of the countries that is all on board for a Palestinian state. Now, this is what I'm talking about. We reported this yesterday on our main website, endtimeheadlines.org, endtimeheadlines.com. Because where I'm going with this, guys, is because, again, we're in this danger zone of the month of September because of the UN General Assembly, where it is centered on trying to divide Israel. We've did several podcasts on this, talking about the importance of this and why we need to be paying attention to this. Well, look at this article. French President Emmanuel Macron and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman will co-host a high-level international conference in New York on September the 22nd to advance, look at this, a two-state solution amid Gaza war and U.S. visa restrictions for Palestinian officials.
Welcome back. In a bold diplomatic move, France will now recognize Palestine as a state. The announcement from French President Emmanuel Macron comes amid growing anger over the humanitarian food crisis in Gaza. In a statement posted to X on Thursday, Macron writes, "The urgent priority today is to end the war in Gaza and to bring relief to the civilian population. Peace is possible." The move makes France the biggest and the most powerful country in Europe to recognize Palestine as a state. NBC News correspondent Matt Bradley joins us from Tel Aviv with the latest. Matt, good morning. Just put in context here the significance of this decision and tell us how the U.S. is responding.
Yeah, it's a great question, Savannah. I mean, we've already heard from the U.S. They dismissed this. Marco Rubio said the same thing. He was, not a fan. And, this is bucking a trend in the West. We're seeing France for the first time saying they will recognize a Palestinian state. So that is significant. But for the rest of the world, this is something that is normal. More than 100 countries throughout the world have already recognized a Palestinian state. It's recognized by the United Nations General Assembly. So this is not something that is all that much of a paradigm shift in that regard. But the fact is, for the Western world, this is new, it's novel, and it might have the effect of getting other countries to sign on to the same.
Emmanuel Macron announced Tuesday that he will co-lead an international conference in New York alongside, the Crown Prince to promote, here it is, a two-state solution for Israel and Palestine. The conference will coincide with UN General Assembly and marks a renewed push for diplomatic engagement despite the ongoing war in Gaza. In a tweet, Macron said, quote, "I just spoke with Saudi Crown Prince and together we will lead the two-state solution conference in New York on September 22nd. He emphasized that, quote, "no annexation or forced displacement will stop the momentum we have built together with the Crown Prince, momentum that many of our partners have joined. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, wow. Now you couple this report with the fact that you have a supervolcano in Italy that scientists, volcanologists, all of these have warned that if and when it blows again, according to this report, if a similar eruption would happen today, its impact would reach far beyond Italy. Ash clouds could blanket much of Europe, grounding flights, damaging crops, and cutting power. Volcanic gases could block sunlight, causing years of cooler temperatures and unpredictable weather that could threaten food supplies worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a laughing matter. This is not a situation that should be taken lightly. This is some serious stuff right here that I don't think people realize. And unfortunately, most Christians are completely oblivious to this because they're not taught this. They're not warned about this. There's nothing being done to educate them on this. The only people that are talking about this is watchmen. The watchmen are talking about this that understand this, but many of them have fallen prey to these ridiculous doctrines like replacement theology. And therefore, they think this is all hogwash. But I'm telling you, mark my words, if Jerusalem is divided, God will judge those nations. And if he has to, he'll use volcanoes, he'll use earthquakes, he'll use tsunamis, he'll use wildfires, he'll use tornadic outbreaks, he'll use whatever. He uses the elements of the earth to bring his judgment. Read it, go in the Old Testament. He used earth, wind, water, and fire. Read Jeremiah, read Isaiah, read Ezekiel. I don't have time to go 30 minutes and break down every one of these. Even in the book of Jeremiah, it says, disaster shall go forth from nation to nation. One passage says, and the Lord sent a great whirlwind. Meanwhile, here in the United States of America, we have an ongoing earthquake swarm that's taking place in Nevada. Let me read this. Here's the headline. Earthquake swarm continues to rattle rural northern Nevada area. Now, we post this on our social media outlets and people laughed at it and say, oh, I live in Nevada and ain't felt a thing and this is all fake news. Well, here you go. Show them this. A swarm of earthquakes continue to rattle a remote area between Elko and Winnemucca into early Sunday morning. The U.S. Geological Survey reported over a dozen quakes since 10:54 p.m. on Friday. And by the way, this is old. There's a lot more that's happened more. I think it's been like, I want to say over 30, 40, 50 earthquakes. The most significant earthquake, which occurred around 12:59 Mountain Standard Time on Saturday, measured a magnitude of 4.8 with a depth of 5 miles, according to the USGS. The earthquake registered a level 6 on the shake map, which indicates strong shaking and light damage. Here's another report. Multiple earthquakes rattle Nevada where the ground is at risk of splitting apart. Nevada has experienced a surge in seismic activity over the past 5 hours. Again, this was reported on the 29th of August. Let's go down here. The swarm was likely driven by tectonic forces along the fault systems of the Basin and Range province. Quote, the earth crust in the Basin and Range province is gradually expanding, cracking into hundreds of faults as it thins. Now again, I'm not saying I agree with this. I'm just giving you this quote from NASA. Quote, over millions of years, land on one side of the faults rose, forming mountains, while land on the other sank into basins. This ongoing activity makes the Basin and Range one of the most seismically active regions in the U.S. Now, I want to show you this map here. This was as of, you can see the date right here, Thursday, September 4th, 802 earthquakes. Look at this. This is all the earthquakes in this region, in this one region of the California, Nevada region. That is a lot of earthquakes. And by the way, in case you didn't know, because some of you, like me, I don't live on the West Coast, but look at this. Nevada contains several volcanic features, including the Cinder Cone in Clayton Valley and the Lunar Crater volcanic field with over 200 vents and a large maar. Other notable locations are the Soda Lakes volcano near Fallon, and the Aurora Bodie volcanic field along the Nevada-California border, While the risk of a significant eruption is, quote, low, these features show historic volcanic activity in the state. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about these are seismic zones, increased activity, earthquake swarms happening in locations in America, in Europe. These are near volcanoes, known volcanoes, one of them being a supervolcano. And we're entering into, again, what I call the danger zone of this UN General Assembly, where you have leaders of countries contemplating on dividing Jerusalem for a Palestinian state. Now, the thing I'm concerned about, guys, is America, we've got a lot of areas that if God, I'm just using just an analogy here. If God wanted to, he could just speak it into existence or whatever he's going to do. But we have Mount St. Helens. We have Mount Rainier. We have volcanoes here on the west that we just pointed to you. We've got multiple seismic fault lines. We have major fault lines. We have the San Andreas. We have the Hayward fault. We've got the Cascadia fault. We have the New Madrid fault, which the New Madrid one, we've covered this multiple times. That's the big one in the nation's midsection that many modern day watchmen have warned that if America has a role in dividing Jerusalem, that is the fault line that potentially could blow. And if that thing blows like it did in 1811, 1812, we are in deep trouble. All right, so as you can see, guys, there's a lot we need to be praying about. This is no time. Right now, we're in a season of Teshuvah, the 40 days of repentance. This is no time to get lethargic. This is no time to get comfortable. This is a time to be watchful, to be ready, and to know that we are indeed living in perilous times. And I want to advise every individual who is a believer in Christ, who has the fear of God. We're literally heading into next week. Next week, they'll be kicking off this meeting on September 9th. That's when it kicks off, and it will go all the way through the month, pretty much the month of September. So be praying about this, asking the Lord's will, because again, we know we can't stop Bible prophecy, guys. It has to happen. Things have to happen. The ball has to keep rolling. Events have to keep transpiring, and we got to keep thrusting ahead and moving forward to get to Daniel 9:27. There eventually has to be the framework to be constructed and built to lay the groundwork for the big event of Daniel 9:27, which is the signing of this covenant of 7 years, Daniel 9:27, that the Antichrist will make with the nation of Israel and the nations around them of peace and safety. So you'll probably, just get ready, because you're going to hear more about this, because we're going to keep sounding the alarm, and we're going to keep informing our listeners and our viewers of the importance of what we're embarking into. So keep on the firing line, guys. Keep watching, keep praying. Don't get lackadaisical. Don't get complacent. Don't let that oil go out. Don't let that flame fizzle out. But remain the voice on the wall. Remain diligent, and know the times and seasons in which we're in. Listen, endtimeheadlines.org, endtimeheadlines.com. I'm not going to keep you long tonight. Just wanted to give you this quick update on this and show you what some potential things could happen and what's at stake here. This is major stuff. So if you don't have our app, guys, please consider downloading it today. It's free. It's available. It is available on Apple and Android. You can pick it up, hit yes to push notifications once you download it, and then you'll get every breaking news alert, prophecy updates, all the headlines right there. When we do exclusive interviews, you'll be able to get that. And you can, with the app, you can go down there and watch and listen at your leisure. And whatever the case may be, it's going to be there for your benefit. Also, if this ministry blesses you week after week after week, pray about becoming a monthly partner. You can do that two ways, electronically or through check or money order right there on the screen. You can make it out to End Time Headlines, P.O. Box 1391, Monroe, Georgia, 30655. So, guys, we're going to sign off on this Thursday night, September 4th. Again, Lord willing, We'll be right back here tomorrow night, September 5th, Friday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, with another great podcast. Until we see you guys on the next one, I pray the Lord bless you, keep you, and may his countenance shine upon you. We'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to the End Time Headlines podcast. We pray that you've been blessed and equipped by today's message. For more information about how you can help partner with our ministry, please visit endtimeheadlines.org.